Trump is making good on what he said when it comes down to deportations. He is eliminating any type of due process for these illegals, especially if they've been here for 2 years or less in the country. And they are deported immediately, okay, and not waste any time. That's how he wants it done. So this came out today, July 22nd, 2019, in Think Progress. New Trump administration rules let ICE rapidly deport undocumented immigrants without due process. So they are out of here. The Trump administration is making good on its promise to rapidly detain and deport undocumented immigrants who live and work in the United States, according to a new notice by the Department of Homeland Security published in the Federal Register on Monday. Undocumented persons would be subject to rapid deportation without due process. So that means they are immediately removed and headed back to their countries. So the measure would also remove the current requirement of that expedited removal only be applied to undocumented immigrants arrested within 100 miles of a land border. Instead, this thing is going to be nationwide. That was how they had it set up before. So if they were within 100 miles of a border, they could be removed and extradited back to their countries. Now, this is nationwide. Nationwide removals by 20,000, according to Migration Policy Institute. 297,000 undocumented immigrants living in the United States could be subject to this expansion. The number could be even higher. So their goal is to remove anybody that have lived in the United States more than 2 years. They can be subjected to removal, immediate removal. So, some have, of course, expressed that this should be done because of all of the court case delays that are going on in the country. So this option, however, is getting more tenuous by the day. And they're talking about the administration continues to issue rules that undermine the U.S. asylum laws. And he really wants that done away. And the asylum laws have recently went back to the courts because Trump is trying to figure out a way to get around the asylum laws that are in place right now and get these folks out of here. In expedited removal proceedings, the burden of proof is on the undocumented person to prove to an immigration and customs enforcement officer that they have been continuously present in the United States for more than 2 years, or just 14 days if apprehended within 100 miles of the border. This means that any undocumented person who fails to provide proper documentation to an ICE agent, regardless of how long they've been present in the United States, could be immediately deported. Part of the nature of being unauthorized in the United States is trying to live without a paper trail. Sarah Pierce, an analyst at the Migration Policy Institute, told Think Progress. It's very, very unlikely that immigrants would have on them, when they encounter an ICE officer, evidence that they've been in the country for longer than 2 years, until DHS issues guidance to ICE officers on what could constitute valid evidence of being continuously present in the United States. Anything goes. Documents like library cards are effective. Even geotagged social media posts could work. There is just one big problem because expedited removal is subject to extreme limit judicial review. This gives ICE officers who, under the Trump administration, have placed an emphasis on enforcement rather than discretion, complete authority. Now, you know, Nancy Pelosi and many people in Congress, including police officers, have told the immigrants not to open their doors. They don't have to open their doors to ICE. So they're telling them to obstruct. Most uneducated and poor members of the immigrant community, who likely have even less documentation than other undocumented immigrants, would be the most impacted. That is so much paperwork to have on you all times. You know how easy it is for them to fake up some documents that make it look like they've been here for a long time. I'm serious. Do you know how easy that would be? They can get all kinds of documents and predate them to the time they arrived here and keep those documents on themselves. You know, I'm just saying, I just don't see how this is so foolproof, if you know what I mean. News of the rule, which will be officially published on Tuesday, comes less than a week after the administration announced a crackdown on asylum that would all but eliminate the possibility of asylum for migrants from countries other than Mexico or Canada. While the rules do not apply to migrants already in the United States, all immigration measures work in tandem with one another to aid in the Trump administration end goal of limiting migration as much as possible. The ACLU and the American Immigration Council have announced that they plan to sue the administration in an attempt to stop this latest rule. Really? Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, right now, if they're able to nab these immigrants, they get deported out of here right away, according to this new rule. No due process to the immigrant at all. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.